It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey, and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan, because it was either Japan or Macau, where at the casinos they not only play craps, they also eat craps. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Mark Bailey, Mike Miller, and Talk Funny. Guys, we were talking before about people nitpicking on things. You work with these guys, but you actually don't have to talk to them, and I call those people Tom Petty. We talked about the Berlin airlift a little bit, like my wife was throwing my things away, because she watched the Kondo Marie special. If you're not aware, it's very, very popular in the U.S. as well, but Kondo Marie Kondo, in the U.S. they call her Marie, because they pronounce it E, but it's written in kanji. Her name is Marie Kondo, Kondo Marie. Yeah. And she says, if something doesn't spark joy, you throw it out. You say thank you, and then throw it out. Thank you, Mark's coat that he bought in Italy for $700. You don't spark joy for me. No, because I bought it, not you. Yeah. But you're going to go. Yeah. And so she threw that away, and I guess I was in Tokyo doing comedy. I never saw it.
Jeez.
It's gone. But I did catch the others. She threw away a $1,200 coat that she bought in Italy, and she bought herself also matching coat. What are the odds, Mike? But her coat is still there in the closet. She threw only mine out. She thought it was hers.
What happened?
Weird. And then she threw that out, and then you'll see that beige jacket right there. That's a $400 jacket from Italy.
Wow.
And she threw that out, and then you see that plaid shirt that's just from Japan, but I still use it, and she threw that out. You see those socks, she threw those out. She threw that.
So what you've got to understand is when Mark gets dressed every morning, he just walks out to the dumpster and just picks up whatever.
Put my clothes on.
Whatever's in there.
And the cop says, "Are you homeless?" And I said, "No, I'm clothesless." Because the Olympics.
Because the Olympics. Indeed, those bloody Olympics. All right.
So my wife and a lot of Japanese women do this. It's called cleaning, but they do it in December.
For the new year.
Yeah,
to clean
and
out
cleaning
the
out.
New year.
It's almost Buddhist or Shintoist, just out with the old and with the new. And she replaces. She said, "What do you want for a present? We do Christmas, Hanukkah. We do Christmas and Hanukkah. The kids like Christmas.
Chronica?
Yeah, it's chronic."
Neurotica.
Neurotica.
I like that. It's a good holiday.
Neurotica mess. Neurotica mass homicide. And so she said, "Did you want a coat?" And I said, "Well, I could always use a new coat." I didn't know she's going to throw the others away. So, Mike, if I give you a coat, but I throw out all your other coats, is that really a present, or is that a curse? She gave me a coat as a Uniqlo. Now, 14,000 yen for coats.
That's not cheap. 14,000 yen, but it's like $120 or something.
Yeah, but it's Uniqlo, so it's not good material.
Yeah, Uniqlo is cheap.
Easily to rip. And the blue coat that you threw away was worth $700.
Jeez.
The buttons on that coat were worth more than $140.
Yeah, wow.
All right, and so I didn't know she's throwing all this stuff out. I said, I can always use more coats. Because we live in a steel-enforced house. It's steel-enforced supposedly for earthquakes. It's very freezing, very cold there in the winter because steel.
Yeah, steel's
metal.
Cold. Yeah.
So I wear 2 or 3 coats when I go to bed because my wife is such a catchy, stingy lady. We can't use the heat.
Also in Japan, as you know, there's no insulation. Some of you outside of Japan may not know that, but Japanese houses are not generally insulated.
Which is ironic because Japan is an isolated country, and that's
very
actually
insulated from the outside world.
Very same root of Latin, insulare. Insulation and isolation. Very close.
Yeah, it's Latin, a very little sidetrack. Have you seen The Two Popes?
I haven't.
Good movie. I recommend it.
I
recommend it. It's very good. Anthony Hopkins is amazing, and the other guy, Jonathan Pryce, is great too.
Which one does God like? They're both popes, so it's kind of like
I think it's Jonathan Pryce.
God's favorite Beatle. God's favorite Beatle. Yeah. They're all Beatles.
Yeah.
Are they all his favorite?
What about the Maharishi? Which is his favorite Beatle? That was George Harrison, right?
Back to my Berlin airlift, I went to this guy's party. It was my busiest day. I had tax deadlines. I had syllabus deadlines. And that's the night I came home, and my dog is pulling at this garbage bag. And he's pulling out this arm of a men's coat. And I said, I caught my wife screwing around. She's trying to throw away her lover's coat. And my dog caught it.
Oh, dear.
And I said, wait a minute, that's not her lover, that's me. That's my coat.
How could you ever be confused with your wife's lover?
This is almost Mike Birbiglia-esque, his stories. But my dog loves, I wish I could show you, it's just a beautiful, I think I showed you before.
Your dog
beautiful,
paid for himself with that.
Beautiful sheepskin, lamb, wool, it's beautiful. And my dog wants this coat. He wants to lay on it. He loves it. He's pulling out, and I said, that looks a lot like a coat that I own that costs $1,200. There's no way this crazy yenta would be throwing that away. Wait a minute, that's my coat. what else is in there? And they pull that jacket. There's a brown suede jacket that costs $400. And then there's another one. I pulled some other stuff out. Some word cards for my Korean language. It's about 1,400 word cards. Now, that's not about money. That's about my time and all my effort.
Yeah.
And it means nothing to you. It's not taking up any space. And our kids have left the house.
Yeah, so you got more space. Yeah.
And she threw that out. That's just disrespectful. The Sicilian part and the Jewish part of me collided, and the Jewish part said, that's just disrespectful. You need to call a missile strike on her immediately, And then the Sicilian said, no, don't upset her in the holidays. She's going to see, there's a guy, Fukuyama, he's a singer. He's kind of the Jesse's girl.
Oh, Jesse's girl was who? Was that?
He's an Australian actor, Rick Springfield. I've done everything for you. You're throwing all my clothes away. I've done. Rick Springfield, Australian actor, good-looking guy, forms a band. Songs are meh. Big hit because he's handsome. His name in Japan would be Fukuyama. That's this guy. And she goes to his concert every year, December 23rd, Yokohama. I'm livid. I'm not sleeping all night. She thinks she could throw my clothes away. I'll put a horse head in the bed, And then I'm thinking, she's been looking forward to this concert all year. Don't confront her. Let her have a good time in Yokohama.
That's kind of you.
Come back. Then the kids like Christmas celebrations. Don't ruin Christmas. Then we got New Year's coming up. Don't ruin New Year's.
So for you, like, Christmas is going through the dumpster. You're like, oh, thank you, Santa.
Yeah,
for giving me my coat that I already had. And
thank you, OCD Santa. Thank you, anti-OCD. And I looked it up. It's Seikyoku Teki, not Seiton, so it'd be compulsive. Seikyoku Teki means extreme, but also compulsive.
Okay.
And
so it's compulsive. It's like the opposite of orders.
It's a form of OCD, which in English is compulsive decluttering. It's the opposite of hoarding, actually. And that's fine, except she has it with other people's things. She doesn't throw her things away. So that's kind of a sociopathic element to it. And I was telling my friend who has a party, and he's not married, never been married. You just tell her logically. No, I said my wife. Did you hear what I said? I said my wife. You just tell her logically that this hurts you and you don't like this. Yeah, I said my wife. Logic doesn't work.
I think he's the best person to talk about marital issues with.
Oh, yeah. Just tell her
no, I love the dude. I love him. He's great.
And I said, you're not listening to me. She doesn't listen. And we already said 6 months ago when my son threw out her stuff because he has her DNA. As I mentioned, Jewish karma is a bitch. Jewish karma for her is my son because he has her DNA, and he threw out all her crap, a lot of stuff, and she raised hell. She screamed so loud the police came.
Wow.
And no, you don't do that to my stuff.
Wow.
So we made a pact 6 months before that happened. This was the end of the year when it happened. 6 months before that, we said, I'm going out on a limb here, but how about just not throwing other people's crap away? How about you can't judge what's crap? You throw your stuff away. She agreed to it. And then when you're not looking, like when I was in Tokyo and stuff doing comedy, she threw my stuff away. And then I happened to catch this with my dog. Helped me catch it.
So at this point, I just want to make an appeal to Hollywood producers. If you want to make a series about the reverse of hoarding, we have a man here who can probably who is ready for reality TV.
Well, I think Marie Kondo is doing that. That is a reverse of hoarding. And I think she's mentally ill. I really think so.
Well, the thing that she said, and I'm not the one to talk about it, Steve was on about this, and I agree 100%. She said, anyone should only have 30 books. Yeah,
if you're a language learner or you're a writer, it's impossible.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, she's got some points, and she's trying to help. Isn't it funny, though, that we're living in a time where we have to hire someone to get rid of stuff that we have because we have too much stuff?
First world problem.
That is like the ultimate first world problem.
First world problem. Number one killer of children in the U.S. is obesity. Not lack of food. Lack of discipline of eating food. So the thing with my wife, now I'm waiting. I finally picked a good time. It was January 2nd or 3rd. And I was downstairs and I saw some shoes that looked like my shoes, and they were also in plastic in a bag. And my wife always does this thing where she says, no, that's not garbage. I'm just putting them in plastic, just collecting them. And then
that's very smart.
And then Monday, that bag's gone. Yeah, I just put it out on the curb. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, what happened? Someone came and picked it up?
I'm not disposing of these shoes. I'm just putting them in plastic. Just put them out. So we all know where they are.
I just put the shoes in the shower. I didn't know
I'm
that was
just putting the shoes in the ghetto so we all know where to find them when we want to put them out on the curb. Finally, my son tried to mediate, but he has her DNA, so he's kind of the AJ of The Sopranos. He's not Meadow. Meadow's a law student. AJ is not a law student. He's trying to mediate, and he said, well, Dad doesn't like it when you're throwing his stuff away because we decided we're all going to throw our own stuff away.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't like the way you tell her not to throw your stuff away. Well, she could take that and shove it. So you can see all these coats and everything, and I've had to bring them. And I had a lot of coats. I have 5 coats that my dad gave me. They're leather jackets, and they're irreplaceable.
You don't throw away our leather jacket.
Irreplaceable.
Come on, you don't throw that away.
You couldn't even buy them if you wanted to.
No,
They'd be thousands of dollars.
No.
And I'm not going to wait to see if she throws them away. I mean, I have things to do. I do comedy in other cities. I go to the States. My dad's sick. And so our good friend said, you just lock it up in a closet and with a key. And I said, but isn't that what a house is? And then to my son's credit, he said, what you need to do is change the locks. And then you need to lock her in so she can't get out. And so she can't throw your stuff out. She can collect everything she wants. We just change the locks.
You're genius.
They only work. She can't get out.
And you're like, son, you know what we call that? There's a law against that. You know what that's called?
It's called kidnapping.
It's called kidnapping. And it's not quite legal.
Cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
That's
legal in Japan, right? Cruel and unusual, as long as it's done by the police, right?
Yeah, exactly. Only police can do criminal conduct. You'll see there's a suitcase, so little by little I'm bringing all my coats and all my stuff. You look behind you, that's a very expensive Italian coat.
Wow.
That I rescued.
We need to do a VR version of this apartment here for our Patreon subscribers so they can just see what it looks like in here.
So I call this the Berlin Airlift because while I'm still working in the morning, I wear coats under my coats so I can stop by the office and then leave them in. Also, this includes my business with the minister robes were there. And she throws those out.
My God, that's a lot of money.
$500 a shot. So I brought them here. I'm having to bring everything here. But my house is a 3-story house. There's a lot of stuff in there. And I can't bring everything here. But anyway, I call that the Berlin Airlift. But
if anybody out there has any ideas, please help. Send help.
But Mike is sitting here
to Asport, Japan.
To his left, there's an acoustic guitar. Behind him, there's an Italian coat.
Yeah, there's drums.
There's organs.
It's like we're waiting for like a concert to break out here.
This is like Woodstock without the people.
That's right.
Just the equipment.
And the acid. No acid
just
in this
the equipment. All right, the acid is in my humor. Mark Bailey, Mike Miller, and Talk Funny. Thanks for listening, guys.